back, everybody. I am Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit. And today we're going to talk some NFL offseason. And Maddie, some crazy shit going on. I guess we just start with the elephant in the room with Deshaun Watson going to Cleveland, which me and you were talking real quick. And then I'll let you go. Sorry about that. Best roster probably, but did not see that coming.
Didn't see that coming even close. Like, I didn't even think as to how that could have happened. And the way it could have happened is the Cleveland Browns just laid down a shit ton of guaranteed money on the table. That's pretty much it. And when you're in the situation that Deshaun Watson's in, that guaranteed money is a fucking big deal. Cleveland must know something that we don't about the commissioner's exempt list and those kind of things as well.
Well, your boy Florio was saying that the NFL has learned from their mistakes, and there's no way they're going to suspend him before the civil case is done.
Yeah, it's they won't suspend him, and then because there's no criminal case at the same time, and even Deshaun Watson now, he's just been paid. What is it? 230? Yeah, $230 million guaranteed money. Just settle the fucking cases. Just get them out of your way.
Minus, and I'm not even talking any endorsements he had before all of this. He made about $40 million leading up to this too.
Yeah, the thing is, I was looking at and thinking about why Cleveland in terms of endorsements, because if you look at some of the other cities like New Orleans is not a big market, but a popping city with people who are really proud of their city. So there's got to be loads of in New Orleans endorsements, like car dealerships and all that kind of stuff. Then you're thinking Miami endorsements everywhere. You're thinking New York Giants. They need a quarterback. Look at all the endorsements you could be getting there. And he's gone for Cleveland. And then I thought, well, Baker Mayfield has all of those State Farm commercials. So imagine Deshaun Watson. But you got to think Deshaun Watson's probably not going to go somewhere that big with the rep that he has at the minute.
Right. And I don't think he's going to be getting any endorsements for a year or two anyway. Like, he's going to have to ride that out. And over here, there's a cluster of cities on the East Coast being Cleveland, Philly, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., New York. They're all clustered in one area, right? So, like, for England, it's probably not that close, but for the U.S., they're close cities. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, the flight from Cleveland to New York is like, taking a piss. It's not like that far at all. So you can still get those endorsements, but like, I don't think he's going to get some big endorsement, not until he cleans up his image some anyway.
Yeah, and I don't think it would take him too much to clean his image now, to be perfectly honest, because he has been. There's no criminal conviction. It's not even going forward. Nobody's prosecuting anything. And it doesn't look like anything's going to really come out too much, like anything of great detail. It looks like it's all getting kept under wraps and that nobody really wants to say what's going on. And I think when you get into that 2-3 years down the line, some people will say some shit every now and again, but look at Ben Roethlisberger. His image is pretty cleared up, and he got accused of doing worse than what Deshaun Watson seems to be getting accused of.
Yeah, and 2 cases of it. He had a civil and a criminal, right? Ben Roethlisberger, but he got the criminal to go away because he settled it real quick civilly, and then he still had one in Las Vegas, and the Steelers were very close to getting rid of him. And nobody refers to him that often as, for a long time, and this is just me repeating it, he was referred to as the big rapist instead of Big Ben for a long time by people. Yeah. And that's not the case anymore. And Florio made a good point. He said, 10 years from now, we're not going to sit back and talk about the legal stuff. We're going to talk about how this contract changed the NFL landscape.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we do talk about the legal stuff in 10 years. I think the world's in a different place as to where it was when Ben Roethlisberger did that. If Ben Roethlisberger did that now, you've got to hope and you've got to probably think the dude's getting suspended from the league, like getting never allowed to play again. Yeah. So you hope you're in a different place. You hope that people remember it. But if the guy's found of doing no wrong, then that's the way our justice system works in the US and in the UK. Innocent until proven guilty. So I guess Deshaun Watson hasn't technically done anything wrong, but I hope we don't forget these 22 people who've come forward and.
So my question for you though is this, like, can the NFL even suspend him right now because no criminal case? And what if he actually wins in a civil suit, and then what do they suspend him for? You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, they can't suspend. They can't suspend him. He's technically just got some civil shit outside. It's not really any cause for
Well, they
concern
suspended
for the
Big Ben for that civil case. They suspended Big Ben for that.
Yeah, he had
civil
criminal
case.
cases going on at the same time, though. Whereas Deshaun now has
Well, he got that
criminal
thrown
case.
out before he got suspended, though, just like kind of like Watson, just a little different because he shoved a bunch of money at the victim.
Yeah, exactly. But Roethlisberger had to settle it, whereas Deshaun, it got kicked out anyway. Like he hasn't been fined, no settlement, nothing like that. They said, yep, no grounds for us to take this any further criminally here.
Once he settles these lawsuits, though, there's a suspension coming.
Yeah. I don't know. If I'm him, I settle them now and then just see what Roger Goodell does. Like whether Roger Goodell wants to. Does Roger Goodell want that smoke?
Well, and it doesn't even. I'm with you. Let's get it over with, though, because the Browns have Case Keenum. He can carry you for 4 games, 6 games, whatever. And then Watson comes back. And I know Cleveland fans are excited, and I would be too. But don't think that Deshaun Watson's going to come in and win you a Super Bowl in year 1 after not playing a full season in a new system with new teammates. And a lot of, like, the whole receiving corps pretty much shook up from what it was last year. So they got to get used to each other. And then let's not pretend the AFC isn't fucking stacked from top to bottom.
Yeah, I think if the Cleveland Browns go to the Super Bowl in the next 4 years, this is a successful contract for them. Because to pay a guy $46 million a year, got fully guaranteed, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's going to change. It's going to change quarterback contracts too, for real. Because and I'm not even being funny, and this is not taking a shot at him because I think he's worth every dime. But let Deshaun Watson get that contract before Aaron Rodgers re-ups, and that's a 3-year, 100% guaranteed contract. You know what I mean? Like Rodgers wasn't going to take. If that happened, he's taking a fully guaranteed contract. Lamar Jackson's going to be looking for a fully guaranteed contract now. Like these guys are not trying to hear that shit after Watson got it after being in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's like, again, it's making Dak look like a decent deal.
Well, yeah, it does make Kirk Cousins look like he's getting paid exactly what he should be.
Kirk Cousins is getting paid exactly what he should be. I'm fully on the side of Kirk Cousins being a $35 million a year quarterback.
Especially when guys are getting 50, right? Like guys are getting 50 now.
Yeah, whereas like Dak's, like the flexibility in that is making it look a lot better, and Dak got a lot of fully guaranteed money. It was like Dak was a stepping stone to this Deshaun Watson kind of contract. It's an incredible contract, an incredible move by Cleveland as well. We spoke about the legal stuff. Let's talk about the football side of it now. They're improving on their quarterback. Like, you like Baker Mayfield. I'm okay with Baker Mayfield, I guess.
I think he'd make 15. The Colts. I think he'd make the Colts a really good team.
Yeah, I think he'd make the Colts a lot better as well. I think that's a really good fit for him, somewhere like the Colts.
Now, he won't go to the Niners, but I think he would have been better than Jimmy G last year.
Yeah, definitely. He's a top quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He makes the Texans better. Like, you know, like that kind of. I'm surprised they didn't ask for that kind of move. That means they're really behind Davis Mills.
Right. And what do you think, though? And you don't want to pay Baker without being proven because he's going into his 5th-year option. I get that. And you're rebuilding, so see what you got in Davis Mills. But what does Baker go for? 2 3s? Like, because everybody knows they have to trade him, so you're going to lowball the shit out of them now. There's no way you're getting a first for Baker Mayfield.
2 3s because you've got to take the contract as well, because you've got to pay him as well. unproven pay.
Right, you're going to have to re-sign him.
A great deal for whoever picks him up. Colts, Giants. That might be that could be a good call for that. They still seem like they love Dan Jones. And it's just Baker Mayfield moving over to the NFC immediately means you have like this 5th or 6th best quarterback in the NFC at the minute.
Yeah, and I could see the Panthers, the Saints. I don't know if they'll do it because the Panthers with Sam Darnold getting paid the exact same as Baker Mayfield, unless you can offload Sam Darnold, you're not going to want to pay 37 plus for these two guys. But unless you're just like, fuck it, Baker is what we're going to move forward with, then you do it and you figure that all out later. Because if you sold that he's your guy, you do it. The Browns proved you do what you got to do to get a franchise quarterback. I just think that Atlanta would have sucked for years if they would have done it. I think the Saints would have sucked for a couple years if they would have done it. I think Carolina could have been good by giving up all those picks with what they had if they could keep McCaffrey and some of their other pieces. But I think Cleveland's roster is where Mayfield makes out. And now with the Browns moves, it makes the Amari Cooper trade make so much sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the Amari Cooper move makes so much sense anyway because Amari Cooper is the top wide receiver in the NFL. And I think it would have been great if Baker Mayfield was there as well because of just the amount of separation he gets during double coverage. He's an incredible wide receiver. It's a travesty that Dallas lost him. That he's great. Do you think that Deshaun Watson move to Cleveland also helps? Because it's now... Obviously, it's within the journalist's interest to keep a track of what Deshaun Watson's doing, but is it as much of a journalist's interest now he's in Cleveland compared to if he goes to New York? Like maybe he stays out the spotlight a little easier in Cleveland. He's not going clubbing. He's not doing any of that while he's in Cleveland. He's just staying at home, learning the game, like getting ready to play football, playing some football again, clean up his image 3 years' time, and then he can go out for nights out in New York, Philly, places like that one, like you were saying.
No, I agree that it's easy. It's going to the Cleveland media is going to be a lot nicer to him than New York would be also.
New York and Philly's media, that would kill him.
Now, if you go by the Moneyball theory of signing guys, okay, which is their money is based on you have a certain amount of stats that you think are worth a certain amount of money. I don't base my life around Moneyball, but people who do, let me throw this out here. Would you pay Kirk Cousins 5 years, $230 million fully guaranteed?
Are we talking Moneyball?
Right, no, but I'm saying because the reason I'm asking is because if you take Cousins' stats, well, he was in Minnesota minus last year because Watson didn't play. And Watson's stats for those years, they're almost identical. Now, don't get me wrong. Watson's a way better player. But by Moneyball, they're the same guy.
Yeah, also, Kirk's playing on a better team in that time.
Well, I've heard the argument Kirk's got better receivers, but really, Hopkins, Brandon Cook, Will Fuller. I'm not sure. I'm not saying that Watson wasn't better, but that defense was nasty for a while with Javavian Clowney, with J.J. Watt. Like that was so. But I still think Watson's way better because he can make plays with his legs. He doesn't make dumb decisions. But it's just if you're playing Moneyball, according to Moneyball rules, they're the same guy.
Yeah, Cleveland have immediately got the best quarterback in their division now. Like Lamar Jackson, obviously, but if Deshaun Watson plays like Deshaun Watson,
do you put him over Joey Burrow?
Ooh, good question.
So 1A, 1B to be determined because that's where I am. I'm not sure which one I think is better right now because I need to see Watson play again.
I think all three are to be determined, really, isn't it? Like I think because Lamar just sometimes is unstoppable, but Deshaun Watson is like the best of both of them. Like,
how did the Steelers end up as the worst quarterback in that division when they were the best for so long?
The Steelers, you've got a feel for them because you're quite excited about the Mitch Trubisky move. Like Mitch Trubisky we've seen he can play quarterback.
He can.
Like we're like, oh yeah, Mitch Trubisky, that makes them a decent team again. Yeah. Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson. Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow, Heisman winner, goes to a Super Bowl in his first full season. And then you've got Lamar Jackson, who's just sometimes unstoppable. Like, what do you do against
Oh, yeah,
that?
he's a highlight reel.
Yeah, what do you do against that? The only thing that they can take a positive out of is they're going to have the cheapest, so they can build the best defense to then cope with the three other guys in their division.
Yeah,
and with the way that Lamar Jackson's acting in Baltimore, how long are they going to have him for?
Oh, I think they're going to pay him. I think they'll pay him before the first game. But I don't know if you can win with the best defense anymore because, I mean, so let's take a 180 and go over to the AFC West real quick, right? That's a fucking arms race over there. They are overpaying players left and right, even though they're amazing players on every fucking team. And the Raiders, people better not sleep on the Raiders. You know, I'm a Derek Carr guy. I like Derek Carr. You just linked him up with his college receiver now. They're best friends. Davante Adams got paid, got traded. The Raiders picked up Chandler Jones. Like, the Raiders are all in right now. And I just seen today they're top of the list for Stephon Gilmore, which ain't going to do nothing but help. I think Josh McDaniels is going to be great for that team in offense. I think we already know he's a great offensive mind, and everybody does a better job a second time around of doing something. So head coaching, he won't make the same mistakes he made in Denver. I mean, this shit in the AFC West, I would say that the Super Bowl champs coming out of the AFC West, but I think they might beat the shit out of each other in the regular season.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to look at them and think, oh shit! Like, you've got to be careful not to get beat in your own division too bad. Like, you've got to look at the Chiefs and think everybody's playing to beat the Chiefs, and you've got to look at them, and the Chiefs will tear everybody apart. And they're still probably the best team in the AFC West just because of Patrick Mahomes. But you've got to look at them and think everybody's building teams in your division to beat you. Like, they may lose every single game in their division because they've got mismatches in all the teams in their division. They may lose every single game, and they may win every single game out of their division just because of the way that they're built. You look at them and you think, the Chargers are spending money on cornerbacks. They're spending money on people to get after Patrick Mahomes. They've got a great offense already starting to get set up. The Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson, what more do you need to say there? And then the Raiders are dangerous. I saw a Chiefs fan talking in one of our groups saying how worried he is about the Raiders. They are dangerous. And Davante Adams, what an amazing signing. Right out at left field.
Adams, Renfro, Darren Waller, Jacobs. Like, Carr's got an array of dudes now, and we watched that offensive line get better and better and better. At the beginning of the year, we were calling them a weakness. In the playoffs, I was like, damn, they're playing good.
I'd still hit the offensive line.
Right, but I'm just saying, we watched them get better as a team with all the craziness going on last year.
Yeah, so, we were watching who they drafted. I remember that. Who is it? Leatherwood. I
still hate the way he snaps the ball. I fucking hate it. But he's getting better too as a young guy. And I think Gruden put too much stock in trying to throw rookies to the wolves.
Yeah, I was kind of like, what the fuck are you guys doing in the draft? And then it's working. Like, it looks better, but you also look at the guys that they could have had at the same time in the draft, and they are better. They have made mistakes in their offensive line recruitment. But saying that, their offensive line is starting to look solid. Throw some more draft picks out this year, your first and second round picks. Throw them at the offensive line and see what comes out. Take the best graded player by everybody available. Don't trust your guys. Sometimes you've just got to say, everybody else thinks that this guy is the best, and we think this guy is the best, but everybody thinks this guy is the 10th best. So pick with consensus sometimes, you know? But I guess you have to trust your guys. The Raiders are dangerous. That division is stacked. But I think the biggest talking point for Davante Adams is how it messes up Green Bay.
Well, yeah, and I was just going to throw this in there. The Raiders just gave double X Max Crosby a big contract, which he earned every penny of. Mm-hmm. So he's staying. I was sad to see Carl Nassib get cut because I'm afraid, even though he can play, being the first openly gay player, he might not get on another team because teams will be weary about bringing him in the locker room. And I hate that we're probably still there. Mm-hmm. But with Aaron Rodgers, I know that Green Bay saying he knew that this was going on with Davante. He knew this was going on with Davante before he signed. I call bullshit. I think that's them cleaning up the mess. I don't think Rodgers resigns with them if he knows Adams isn't going to be there. He lost St. Brown. They haven't re-signed MVS yet. Like, what do you do? What do you do if you're Aaron Rodgers? Now you got to come in with a bunch of young guys, and Lassard's the only guy you're looking at that you know. And Rodgers is big on trust. He wants to trust his receiver. You always hear him talk about trust. And that him and Davante Adams know each other so well that with looks, they know what the other one's thinking. And so there was a big play against the Vikings last year where Adams scores a touchdown. Rodgers on Tuesdays talking about that wasn't even the call. But I looked at Adams. He looked at me. He saw the defense. We didn't have to say a word. And he ran a route we never even talked about. And he hits him going away to the end zone. How are you going to do that with some rookies? Or what are you going to do? You're going to bring in Landry? He's good, but is he really a number one? I don't know. I think the Packers, I said this morning on Yankee and the Brit while I was talking to LA, who comments a lot. I said, Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks. He is a bad man and does not scare me nearly as much as he did with Davante Adams.
Yeah, it's just a horrible, horrible situation for the Packers that, like, there's no way of turning it to make this look good. There's no way of switching this around. So basically, it either looks like Davante Adams doesn't want to play there, or it looks like you paid Aaron Rodgers too much money and now you can't get any weapons for Aaron Rodgers, which I don't agree with, but it's just the optics of it. Or it looks like you didn't want to pay possibly the best wide receiver in the NFL what he was worth.
Well, if they'd have tried to pay him in the middle of the year, he'd still be a Packer, right? Because they waited so long. My thing is, though, I could be completely wrong. This is just me trying to think as Davante Adams. Do I want to come back for 1 or 2 more years with Aaron Rodgers and then go to a fucking Jordan Love, who we've already seen and he practices with him? Or do I want to go back and play with my best friend and college quarterback who's going to get an extension and be around probably the life of my contract down there? And I will point out, I was the dumbass who said on a few podcasts ago, just because Adams bought a house in fucking Las Vegas does not mean he's going to the Raiders. Yeah, I said that. I said that.
Rodgers bought a house in Tennessee. I bet he's starting to look at that and think, damn, I wish I bought that property in Vegas and just switched around to the Raiders. Imagine Aaron Rodgers as a Raider. That'd be terrifying. Yeah. Also, just to add to that, you're also moving from Green Bay to Vegas. Just putting that out there. Why are you moving from Green Bay to Vegas, Jay? That's how you get into Davante Adams' mind.
Yeah. Do you ever? Nobody who's ever spent a winter in Wisconsin has to even ask that question, right? Like, because everybody, and it's been said on every TV station. Now, listen to me. Green Bay is an awesome city for the size. I love it. The summers and spring are amazing. The winters and fall suck. But if you're a millionaire athlete and you play during the winter, where you want to be, like Green Bay, Nevada. Also, they said the Packers offered him more, which they have to. There's almost an 8% state tax in Wisconsin. There's 0 state tax in Nevada. That is $80,000 on every $1 million. That's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah. It's Green Bay are not in a good position for that. And they're not in a good position for free agents in general, I think, just because of the way that they run. There's no owner to kind of go and talk to the other owners to get their trades in. There's no, like, all of that kind of stuff. I kind of love how the football teams run it. It hits very well with my British values in terms of, like, get the fucking oligarchs out the way. And yes, I am now calling all rich people oligarchs. I don't think it's fair that we just call the Russians that. We need to realize that all rich people are oligarchs. But like, we need to get those oligarchs out the fucking way, and we need to leave it to being run by the fans and those kind of things. But when everybody else has got the owners, you see why you need those owners and things like that, and it puts them at an immediate disadvantage. And I agree with you. I'm not sure that Aaron Rodgers resigns if Davante Adams is leaving. If he doesn't know something that we don't, so maybe he's bringing Jarvis in. If they knew they weren't going to be able to sign Davante Adams, why are they not in for Amari Cooper? People like that. I suppose Dallas are never going to trade anybody to the Packers. That's also a good point. But Landry is the best out of the market. Cole Beasley's been released by the Bills. Maybe he wants to spend some time in Green Bay. I don't know. But you've got to think they're going to the draft and they're hitting the wide receiver position hard.
You would think, right? But they always confuse me because I didn't think they were drafting Jordan Love, different things. But if you're Aaron Rodgers, you got to be going, okay, so yeah, the NFC is weak right now compared to the AFC, and they're still going to be up there as one of the top contenders in the league because of Aaron Rodgers. But it's like you can't feel as comfortable. And now even if you make it to the Super Bowl, you're going to be playing some monster from the AFC. Are you even going to have enough ammunition to compete? And you still have Tom Brady to deal with now. And then this shoves Dak and Kirk right up into conversations of top 5 quarterbacks in the NFC, right? So,
we both agree that they don't belong as the best.
Right. And so you look at the AFC, we're going to be talking at guys at number 8. We would take over guys we are saying are number 4 in the NFC. This is crazy. The NFL and the AFC is just gunning. Like they are spending so much money to keep up with each other right now.
Which they know is what you've got to do. And I don't understand why the NFC teams aren't saying, holy shit, there is nobody here who's any good. Let's just fucking go for it. Let's just spend all this money. And it kind of looks like the NFC is in cap hell. Like every team in the NFC is in cap hell.
That's why the Vikings are moving so slow, because they could have opened up $50 million in cap with restructures. But they didn't do full restructures. So they freed up $6 million instead of 13 with the extension of Thielen. They did the same thing with Harrison Smith, and now they're going to flip Daniels, which we knew that was going to happen, that full, to open up another 13, so that there's teams like the Vikings who are moving very slow and trying to fix what the last regime did to the cap while getting guys. And I like the moves we made. Don't get me wrong. I like that we brought in Hicks. I like that we brought in Horrible Harry. We got a better guy than Michael Pierce for cheaper because he's double the price, but for 3 years instead of 1. You know what I mean? It's 19 for 3 years instead of 10 million for 1. But fuck, we need corners. Can somebody sign a fucking corner? We got no corners. So there's teams I'm looking at and I'm going, what the fuck are you doing? And this just popped in my head because of his mentality. The best possible landing spot for Baker Mayfield is with Dan Campbell.
Yeah, that'd be fire. Baker Mayfield in Detroit, and they could just let him off the rein as well. He doesn't have to he doesn't have to worry about what he says in press conferences while he's in fucking Detroit. Just nobody gives a shit. Just go for it. As long as you
and they just be happy you were talking. Yeah, they just be happy you were talking about Detroit.
Yeah, and then Jared Goff signs for the 49ers for absolutely no money. I like Jared Goff for the 49ers.
Or he ends up, whoever doesn't end up with a quarterback, right? Because somebody's going to be sitting out without a quarterback going. And then I think Matt Ryan's going to want out of Atlanta. I think there's going to be this big carousel of movement. I think Matt Ryan is going to be like, okay, I let you do your Deshaun Watson thing. I even pushed back my signing bonus to help you get this Deshaun Watson thing done. It didn't work. Send me to a contender.
Yeah, I just worry. Matt Ryan has to take a fucking massive pay cut if he goes anywhere else. That's the thing. How much money are you wanting to pay Matt Ryan? He's a pretty decent cap hit at the minute.
Well, again, if you're the Colts, though, and you can get him for cheap on a trade, not money-wise, you have $70 million to absorb that. And I think the Colts feel like they're legitimately a quarterback away from being a contender.
Yeah, I also look at it. I'm pretty sure Atlanta get quite a lot of dead cap from Matt Ryan as well. I'm not 100% sure. But can the Colts then give Atlanta the money for that dead cap? Like,
something Florio was saying is if they trade before the bonus, it knocks off a lot of that. And Matt Ryan pushed that back till Tuesday. So if they can get a trade done, then the trading team would take that, but there'd still be a big cap hit. But you're going to have to eat that cap hit at some point. You don't have a number one wide receiver because Calvin Ridley can't make good gambling decisions. And, so if you're Matt Ryan, you're probably like, I did a ton of shit for you, let me out of here. But then this is just a question I forgot to ask you too. So with Juju going to the Chiefs, but the Chiefs losing some of their defensive pieces like the Honey Badger, what order do you put in your head the AFC West? I got to know, and I forgot to ask you that. Here, I'm going to cheat, so I'm going to tell you mine first.
Yeah.
I got the Raiders and the Chargers both number 1. I got the Chiefs number 2, which would push them to number 3. And then I got Denver bringing up the ass.
Yeah, it feels weird saying Denver are going to be bottom of their division with Russell Wilson and the fact they've re-signed Von Miller.
No, Von Miller went to the Bills.
Oh, shit.
106
it's so much
years.
Harder to keep
they gave him fucking 6 years, 130. I think they're fake numbers at the end. I really do. I think they're fake numbers at the end.
Von Miller's not playing another 6 years in the fucking NFL.
No, he's like 33 or 34.
What a signing for the Bills.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's a brilliant signing. A lot of money, but that's what they need. That's their number one need and probably one of the best players available.
Hey, Bills, if you need a running back, give us a call. We got this guy, Alexander Madsen, fit good into your team. We'll give him up for a second-round pick. Give me a call.
Yeah. That'll work.
There's no way anybody's giving up a second for a running back either.
Yeah, they do need a running back, though. But it's like what you're saying. In the NFC, everybody's just overpaying because it's an arms race. I think the NFC have kind of just gone, we can't. There's no need for us to compete at this level to get to the Super Bowl. And then if we're in the Super Bowl, we'll see what happens, like when we get there. So they don't have to worry about the AFC. So you don't want to. Nobody in the NFC needs to overpay players. But the thing is, you should just be looking at it and think, if we create a super team here, we could have a dynasty in the NFL that could last, in the NFC that could last a while.
I mean, legitimately, as a Vikings fan, and if you bring Patrick Peterson and you get us another corner or two, we literally can compete for the NFC North this year. Like, I know people say it every year, but like I said, the Packers scare me way less without Davante Adams. You can score on the Packers. They just always outscore you, right? That's the problem. So without Adams and Rodgers having a bunch of new receivers, I think this is a time, if you're the Vikings, you go for it. If you're the Cowboys and you're pretty sure you're going to win your division and you think there's somebody that you can overpay to get you to the Super Bowl, you go for it. If you're the 49ers and you believe there's a dude that can get you there, you go for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so weak right now. Tampa's going to sell out again. Like, Brady's trying to get Julio down there.
Do it. I'd do it if you're Brady. I think I'm going to say Chargers, Chiefs, Denver, Raiders. But just because, I don't trust the Raiders for the wheels not to fall off at some point yet.
I trust Derek Carr to be a more steady hand than Russell Wilson. I trust Russell Wilson more to make a play right now and win me a game, if that makes sense.
How many points is Russell Wilson worth over Derek Carr? You've got to
3 to 7.
Is he a touchdown? Is he a touchdown better, or is he a field goal better than Derek Carr per game?
I did just say 3 to 7, so it's funny you said that. I don't, depending on the game, but like there's times where I think Derek Carr is going to win games that Russell won't because Russell's going to try more crazy shit than Derek will too.
Yeah,
And when
maybe in
Russell gets
Denver.
sacked, he takes a 30-yard loss sometimes with his scrambles. When Derek Carr gets sacked, it's a 7-yard loss, you know?
Yeah, it's just maybe in Denver he doesn't have to do that, whereas in Seattle that offensive line is
Correct.
horrendous, so he has to do that. I think one thing's for sure: if the Seattle Seahawks don't improve, then they're probably going to finish bottom of their division. The NFC West is pretty stacked apart from them as well.
The Rams, though, they made some good signings too. I thought that bringing Allen Robinson over was fucking brilliant because he played good with shitty quarterbacks in Chicago. What's he going to do with Matt Stafford in that offense?
Yeah, it also makes the Bears look a lot weaker as well. Allen Robinson. The NFC North has got weaker. Like, the Vikings are getting slowly stronger, but very slowly. But the NFC North as a whole is weaker at the moment. And it wasn't the strongest division last year. Detroit are getting slowly back. Hey, if we're looking for a team to fucking sell out, I mean, Detroit, this is your time to actually be fucking decent. You know what I mean? Like, if you're looking out, if you think Detroit, just overpay some people, just overpay some great players, and just see what happens, just see what goes on, because you're riding a wave of this kneecap biting. Some people love that shit. I mean, some people would love to go live in Detroit and fucking bite some kneecaps for a while. Can you get them Dominican Sue back?
Well, my question too is I don't know what's going on with the Bears coaches, but Poles I like, their new GM. So I think all NFC North teams are going like this, and the Packers are coming back like this. Do you know what I mean? Like, because
maybe.
I just, like I said, Aaron Rodgers is amazing, but how amazing is he without Davante Adams over 17 games?
Yeah, definitely.
I still can't believe that we had to start this with, not had to, but we did start this with Deshaun Watson to the Browns. I just did not see that coming.
Yeah, right out of left field. As soon as you sent me that, I was like, right, we need to record a video tomorrow.
I knew you'd be sleeping. It was so late, which is early for you when it came out, but I had to have that waiting for you when you woke up to go, holy shit.
I texted you and was just like, yeah, we need to make a video. Like, now is the time. I was waiting for like a few free agent moves to get done, and then that one comes through, and we're like, yep, cool, video, record it now, got to be done. Deshaun Watson just goes in, and he hopefully changes lives for Browns fans. Baker Mayfield, find a way to get yourself to the Colts. Do anything you can to get to the Colts. Maybe they want to trade him out into the NFC, so you're thinking then Detroit, Atlanta, but the Saints would be a good finishing point.
Yeah, I think.
Seattle.
Yeah, if you're willing to go play in Seattle too. Also, like I said, now I'm more convinced, and it sucks for me as a Vikings fan, but I'm more convinced now that it popped in my head. The best landing spot for Baker himself might be Detroit with Dan Campbell. Like you said, he can be himself there. Dan Campbell's not going to try to shut him up. Him and Dan Campbell, I think, will get along great. I think their mentalities of the way they are, and I think that Detroit really wants that chip on their shoulder, rough neck, bruising football. And who's got more of a chip on their shoulder than Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, and well, Tom Brady for still being a 6th round pick in the draft. But apart from that, then yeah, right. Baker Mayfield. But yeah, and if they sign Baker Mayfield, they immediately climb the rankings in the all-important Phil Simms coach quarterback fighting rumble rankings that he's got on his Unbuttoned podcast.
You know what you do? You call up the fucking Browns and you go, you know what? I will give you a second for Baker Mayfield, which is a very high second because they have 2 firsts still, the Lions, right?
Yeah.
And you just take Baker Mayfield and stack them 2 first-round picks around him. And people are going to say a second is overpaying, a high second. Again, if you think he can make your team better, what is the price you're willing to pay for a quarterback? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also at the same time, you then trade away Jared Goff for a 4th or 5th, like something
7th.
like that.
Fuck.
Yeah, just to get something out of it, you know. And that'd be a better move for Jared Goff as well. If Baker Mayfield comes to the Lions and Jared Goff then becomes the next guy on the block to get into a new team, and you're thinking Jared Goff is better than Drew Lock. Jared Goff is better than who else are around? But
He becomes
like
the
Jared
top
Goff.
backup. At the very worst, he's one of the top backups in the NFL.
Yeah, 100%. Like Jared Goff as a Colt is better than Carson Wentz last year. Like I'm convinced. Yeah, because with Jared Goff, you don't get the same throw the game away shit as Wentz. Wentz has a higher upside than Jared Goff, but the Colts aren't looking for that, and I think he'd be a good Colt. Yeah, interesting. What a carousel we've got going on.
Man, we knew there was going to be some movement, Maddie, but I don't think we thought it was going to be like this. And
yeah.
Like, I didn't see Davante leaving Green Bay. I thought he was there for the long haul. I didn't see Deshaun going to the Browns ever. When he said he reached out to the Browns, or he was going to go meet with the Browns, I was like, really? Really? He was kind of an armpit.
I was like, oh yeah, good stunt to spark some interest from other teams, to get some other teams to get off the fucking pot. Like, that's what I was thinking.
The best thing that happened for Deshaun Watson was that there was multiple teams involved for him, because all that off the field shit disappeared for 10 days and all they were focused on is where is he going?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Hey, and if you think about it, with his age and where he's at, they gave up 3 firsts, a third, and you can throw the 4th out the window because they got a 5th back for that 4th. So that's almost a wash for me in the draft. So if you think about it, you take one of those first. That's Deshaun Watson, right? So pick. So you really only gave up 2 seconds and a third that you're not going to be able to recoup something off of. Not that bad when you think about what Denver gave up for Russell Wilson. 2 starters, 2 firsts, 2 seconds. Yeah. So, I mean, I think the Browns got a fucking steal if you think about it that way.
Yeah, and I think the cold cases come into that, don't they? Those picks are not based on his talent. I think is what we can say. Also, the Texans, like, it just shows how much the Texans fucked up by not trading him at the start of last season.
Yeah, they still got three first-round picks, though. And so I couldn't believe the Raiders gave up a first and a second for Davante. They don't usually give up. People don't usually give up that much for a receiver that's older, even though he probably is, if not the best, one of the best receivers in the league.
I think it's Davante Adams' opportunity to show people that he's good without Aaron Rodgers. I think a lot of people worry about Davante Adams in terms of calling him a top wide receiver, because we don't know that due to the fact he's always played with Aaron Rodgers. So let's see what you've got, Davante.
I think that is an absolute fair point that I totally disagree with, just because I've watched him for so long. I think if you give him any good quarterback, you are going to get a balling wide receiver, right? But that's the thing. If you got a shitty quarterback, I don't care how good of a wide receiver you are. Or this ain't even a shot at Dak or Amari, but if the chemistry gets screwed up at any point with you and your quarterback too, things get weird, man. Like, they were locked in for a minute, and then at the end of last year, it did not seem like they were locked in anymore. You know what I mean? And Amari can play. Yeah. Dak's an above-average quarterback, so we're not shitting on him like that, you know? And with all the contracts that came out, now I no longer have to shit on Dak for being overpaid.
Yeah, the only reason you shit on Dak for being overpaid is the amount of cap that we're having to ship off. But that's Ezekiel Elliott being overpaid, as far as I'm concerned. That's a long history of the Dallas Cowboys overpaying homegrown players. And
yeah, we just did the same thing with Dalvin Cook, so hopefully he stays healthy. We're in the same fucking boat you were with Zeke. I am still a believer in Zeke. You get him back healthy. And he wasn't totally healthy last year, and people forget about the hip and all the other problems. You get him back totally healthy, I think that you're going to see more of the Zeke we saw at the beginning. But he's so tough. He's like Baker. Baker shouldn't have been playing some of those games, but he's like, fuck it, I'm tough, I'm going to play. And then it makes you look like you fell off a cliff when it was really just an injury.
Yeah, And how much better is, and when the Cowboys have Pollard, then it would have been fine. Just Zeke, just take some fucking time off. We've got a guy who can hold his own. We're fine. And it's when you're Baker, when you've got Case Keenum, it's like, hey man, you're not that much better than Case Keenum. Like, you're not infinitely better. Like, over 17 games, Baker Mayfield is better than Case Keenum, but on a game-to-game basis, I'm not sure how much better he actually is.
Hey, and only one of those two quarterbacks have ever been to an NFC Championship game. So, crazy offseason so far, more to come. I can't wait. This is the football nerd in me loves this time of year. I'm always picking up my phone and Googling names and teams to see what's going on. I probably Google Minnesota Vikings 130 times a day right now just to see that they've done nothing.
Yeah,
I mean, they made some moves, but I need corners, man. You just re-sign Patrick Peterson and get me one more corner. I'll shut the fuck up the rest of the offseason and sit back with a smile.
We're in the same boat. We all know that the Cowboys are taking it to the draft this year.
Yeah, but that's not the worst way to build a team because I think you're going to bring Van Der Esch back because you're going to want
Micah. Been re-signed, yeah. He's been re-signed.
And because you're going to want Micah Parsons to run the rush the quarterback more, so it's smart to bring him back. You got young secondary that's just going to get better. You know what I mean? The Randy Gregory doing the 180, I blame that on the fucking Cowboys, though, for they put language in the contract that if you get fined, you lose your bonuses. You're a defensive player. One helmet-to-helmet hit, you're going to get fined.
Yeah. The language is a mistake. I feel like what they actually meant in terms of that language is like if you get fined for off the field misconduct, that kind of shit, but then put that in the fucking contract. Don't make it look like.
Well, Denver had zero of that wording, and that's why he's in Denver. But I heard kind of the same thing happened with Zadarius Smith, that there was weird wording in his contract after he agreed to it, that the money wasn't what he thought it was going to be in the later years. So he said, I'm done too. You don't see that very often. Two high-profile guys pulled a 180.
Yeah. Randy Gregory is going to be a big miss for the Dallas Cowboys next year, I feel. If they don't, they need to find somebody else. Micah Parsons is our main pass rusher, though, so I'm not too fussed. I'm not like that's going to completely change our season, but Randy Gregory would have been nice. Would have been optimal to have Randy Gregory. What they need to do is clear enough cap to be able to sign Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs next year. Is a big deal.
Well, Trayvon's up after this year where he can ask for one. Micah Parsons has got play through next year before he can even ask for one.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, you've got to have that. You've got to have that money ready to give Micah Parsons because that's going to be a big fat check that he's going to take.
If you're smart, you sign him to an extension after year 3 so you can keep those 2 rookie years to eat up bonuses. But we all know how the Caps played with that.
Yeah, they're not going to get caught out in the same way they got caught out with Dak, we hope. We know Micah Parsons has it. We knew Dak was a franchise quarterback, so why not just pay him 3 years in?
And you know Trayvon Diggs is going to do nothing but get better as he goes.
Trayvon Diggs just needs to learn not to fucking bite on everything. So I'm not too worried about Randy Gregory leaving. There's defensive linemen around the NFL that you can get on a cheaper deal, and it's not a bad defensive line group coming out in the draft from what.
No, they're pretty deep. They're pretty deep for being. They're not usually as deep. I think about 8 guys are going to go in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, and there's a few freaks coming out. Like Dallas could do with like a freak. Like, you know what I mean? Like a guy's 7 foot, like his reach is 7'1", like some sort of insane basketball player who loves hitting people too much to play basketball, like that kind of guy, you know, like just a freaky looking dude to play on the defensive line. That's what I think Dallas need, because we've got our pass rush sorted, and we need one more corner, and then we're all good. But yeah, another wide receiver would be nice in the draft, and a backup offensive lineman But that's really wishing for some stuff
But
right there.
you can get those back offensive linemen when they get cut in training camp because they need to save money. You can pick up a decent backup offensive lineman, swing guy after those cuts. It's where those skilled positions, where receivers, corners, quarterbacks, you ain't getting the best of the best in those, but you can pick up backup linemen. You know what I mean? So I think you'll be fine there. I think there's 8 or 9 guys and wide receiver are going in the first 2 rounds also, though.
Yeah, I'd say first round pick, defensive lineman, second round pick, wide receiver, or maybe first round pick, cornerback, second round pick, defensive lineman.
Well, you'll have a better thought when we start ranking out all of these players before the draft.
Yeah, man, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. Well, that's what we got for you right now. We'll be back with more because you know the NFL is crazy. But thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.